When Grandpa and Grandma heard a supermarket was giving out eggs, their back pain vanished, leg soreness disappeared, and they sprinted like teenagers. At anniversary events, supermarkets literally threw steam buns on the ground just to spark a stampede. The mall carries a smell of decay. Don't you feel mall food these days tastes lifeless? Take the meat, pre-cooked, dull, dead on arrival. No matter the portion size, the flavor's gone. At home, even a quick stir-fry of veggies and pork feels alive. But step into a mall, and all you get is dead food. Those so-called exquisite dishes? Older than Grandma's cotton pants, so tough they glue themselves to your teeth. Is this what people are supposed to eat now? The water was cut off at home, so I ordered takeout for the first time in months. After an hour of careful picking, I chose 3 dishes. Let's see. Braised chicken with chestnuts. Except the chestnuts are pale with white centers. Half-cooked, flavorless, crunchy. And that young chicken? What a joke. This chunk of dry meat is tougher than Grandma's old pants, sticking to my teeth like rubber. The hot and sour shredded potatoes? Neither hot nor sour, just bland. And the shreds are thicker than chopsticks. Who knew it took so much talent to make food this bad? They call this Hubei exquisite cuisine? Tell me, what's so exquisite about it? In 2024, the office was overflowing with employees. In 2025, it's a ghost town. Desks empty, phones silent. No one comes, no business left. On August 31st, 2025, I was officially laid off. I thought a big company with 2,700 employees and 60 billion in revenue was safe. I planned to retire there. 10 months in, and I'm out on the street. Who would believe it? Now 20-somethings are competing for cleaning jobs. Look, girls mopping the floor, a young guy wiping doors. With their energy, the city shines. But where does that leave older women like me? Do we even have a chance anymore? And yes, pretty young girls can sell liquor. But cleaning? That's supposed to be our last resort. After my first day of training, I called my friend. Can you believe it? Young girls are even stealing cleaning jobs. I can't survive in this line anymore. I'm furious. By 2025, China has fallen into a brutal cycle of internal competition. Weak domestic consumption plus massive overcapacity has crushed nearly every industry. Restaurants, food delivery, ride-hailing. Stable jobs are disappearing, while more workers flood into gig work, making survival even harder. Take this ride. It started at 12.9 yen, climbed to 14.2, then slid to 13.4 just before arrival. Did you catch that? Lao Wang, a Hebei taxi driver, said, "Passenger pays 39 yuan. I pocket 16. The platform swallows the rest. Over 50% commission. Passenger hands over 39.56 yen, and I take home just 16. Who's really winning here? The factory's shutdown perfectly proved the online saying, the boss's final ending is becoming a deadbeat. The gates have closed. Let me give you the latest update. Inside the workshop, nearly 4,000 unfinished pieces are piled up, with over 3,000 more still waiting to be completed. After that, it's over. The last step for a factory boss is selling the cars, mortgaging the house, and then facing a mountain of debt. The internet was right all along. What's the end of the boss? A deadbeat. A customer just slashed an 800,000 yuan house down to 420,000. The landlord exploded in anger and refused to give in. In 2025, a tsunami of brick-and-mortar store closures is coming. Every industry is trapped in endless internal competition, dragging each other down in a self-destructive spiral. August 24, 2025. Look at Linyi, once the logistics capital, alive with endless traffic. Now, empty streets, ghostly silence at 5:06 p.m. Has e-commerce completely wiped out physical stores? The sun hasn't even set, yet the shops look dead. Can they still survive? This is Lanhua Smart Logistics Port. Look, a sea of people? No, just emptiness. At 5:09 p.m. Beijing time, the roads are wide open. They say it's the holiday rush, that workers already got tickets home for New Year. But wait, it's not the 25th or 26th of the 12th lunar month. It's August 24. See the truth? At Nanchang Yinyan Logistics Base, collapse is written everywhere. Out of a vast logistics park, only a few companies cling to life. Once, even riding an e-bike meant being stuck in traffic here. Now it's silent. Nanchang's largest logistics hub, once a lifeline for out-of-province goods, is a graveyard. Every warehouse shuttered. One by one, businesses die quietly, unseen. On social media, mainland Chinese are crying out, society has fallen into an age of hyperinvolution. 10 years ago, working hard guaranteed survival. Today, whether you run an online shop, a physical store, or a startup, one wrong step, and you fall into a bottomless pit. No matter how hard you struggle, you'll never climb out. One furniture shop owner sighed, it's finally over. After 10 years of holding on, the store still drowned in loss. Friends mocked, you're not working hard enough. But the truth, even eaating dinner with sales assistants feels like a farewell gathering. Look at Wuxi's malls. Once glorious, now ghost towns. Oriental Paris, the mall every Wuxi resident knew, now sits in ruins, shops shuttered, hallways silent. Landlords are desperate, staring at empty properties no one will rent. Is the rent too high? Or is it just no customers anymore, they ask. For years, for rent signs have faded on the doors. Yet some landlords bought at 100,000 yuan per square meter. Now they own nothing but hollow shells. Once crowded with shoppers, now deserted. This is China's working reality in 2025. Factories abandoned, shops collapsing, and workers left stranded. Do you feel the crisis closing in? Whether in factories or on construction sites, jobs are vanishing. Over time, the lifeline for workers is gone. No more weekend shifts, no more night pay, just a bare salary. In places like Huizhou, it's barely 2,000 yuan. Tell me, how can anyone survive? Forget raising a family, you can't even feed yourself. Today, Chinese people are trapped in a painful dilemma. They cannot roll up, but they also cannot lie flat. But have you ever asked yourself, who is behind all this suffering? The answer lies in the Communist Party's ruthless tactics of control, tactics that have exposed its true nature time and time again. And this is something every Chinese citizen must wake up to. For over 2,000 years, Chinese rulers have relied on Xiangyang's infamous 5 policies to govern, to weaken, and to enslave the people. The result? A cycle of misery that continues to this very day. So, what exactly are these 5 policies? Why do they still matter in 2025? The first is fooling the people. This means deliberately dumbing down society, making people ignorant and easy to deceive. If citizens are wise, eloquent, and independent thinkers, they become difficult to control. So rulers restrict knowledge, limit truth, and only allow people to hear what they want them to hear. They kill independent thought at the root. The less you know, the easier you are to rule. The second is exhausting the people. Keep them endlessly busy. Force them to work day and night just to survive, so they never have time to question authority. When your daily life is consumed by rent, food, and debt, who has the energy to resist? The third is humiliating the people. Break their pride, crush their dignity, and leave them with no backbone. Once stripped of self-respect, the people are reduced to obedience. They no longer dare to stand tall, only to bow their heads. The fourth is weakening the people. Suppress their spirit, weaken their collective strength, and destroy any chance of unity. Xiangyang even encouraged rulers to let evil control the good, to empower corrupt officials and use gang-like politics to rule society. In this way, fear replaces justice, and the people live under constant oppression. The fifth and most insidious policy is manipulating the people's wealth. One day the rich are made poor, the next day the poor are given a taste of prosperity, only to be dragged back into poverty again. This endless cycle of gain and loss ensures no one ever becomes truly strong or independent. It traps society in constant struggle, chasing prosperity that never lasts, always working harder, but never moving forward. This is why Chinese prosperity rarely survives beyond 3 generations. Look around you today. Aren't these very same tactics alive in modern China? Students are taught only what they are allowed to know. Workers are driven to exhaustion, barely surviving on base salaries. Ordinary people are humiliated, their voices silenced online and offline. Communities are weakened while corrupt officials thrive. And the cycle of poverty and debt crushes generation after generation. So here's the question. Should Shangyang's 2,000-year-old methods of control still define the lives of modern Chinese people? Of course, ordinary citizens long for a stronger, freer, more prosperous China. But what about the rulers in Beijing? What are they doing? Are they truly building a nation for the people? Or are they simply repeating the same brutal playbook of control, ensuring that the people will never rise? I'm a fresh graduate from the class of 2025. Today is my 10th day in Shenzhen, and I still can't find a job. Not a single one. Apart from telesales, endless sales jobs, customer service positions, or acting as a host at so-called cultural and media companies, there's nothing left. Whenever I show up for an interview and tell them I'm a fresh graduate, the response is always the same. You need work experience. How am I supposed to get experience if nobody will hire me? I'm leaving Shenzhen. Goodbye, Shenzhen, and goodbye to my youth. 6 years ago, I came to this city with dreams burning in my chest, just like countless outsiders who believed Shenzhen was a land of opportunity. But in my very first year, I felt the real essence of this city, loneliness. Day after day, I drowned in endless commutes, endless pig's trotter rice, and endless exhaustion. Social life, non-existent. So let me ask you, if you didn't have a job, would you still stay in Shenzhen? My answer is a clear no. I can't make enough to live. Money. Every day here feels like life in the countryside. Shenzhen's prosperity shines only in skyscrapers. It has nothing to do with ordinary people like us. Do you realize what's happening? Right now, 90% of the shops in Shenzhen are bleeding money. Another 5% are barely scraping by, and only the last 5% are making any profit at all. Don't argue with me. Go and see for yourself. This year, physical stores have practically no single-person roles anymore. One person now does the job of two. Women are treated like men are treated like machines, and bosses act like they're gods above everyone else. Yes, there are reports saying Shenzhen's real estate market has shown slight recovery recently, but many seasoned agents sigh and shake their heads. I've never seen the market this dead in my entire career. Home prices have crashed. Properties that once sold for sky-high amounts are now chopped in half, or worse, fallen to rock bottom, leaving big developers staring at ruins of their former empires. Some even call it a new age slum. In the heart of overseas Chinese town, one of Shenzhen's 4 luxury areas, a residential monster has risen. The LVGM Baishizhou, Asia's tallest residential building. Standing 74 stories high and 240 meters tall, it towers over city landmarks. Yet its floor area ratio is a staggering 11.4, and its occupancy rate only 69%. It covers 5 million square meters and will eventually cram in more than 90,000 residents. This year, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development issued new rules redefining what makes a good home. From now on, residential buildings can't exceed 26 floors, and their height can't go over 80 meters, meaning these super high-rise towers will soon be relics of the past. What kind of house can I buy in Shenzhen with 7 million yuan? I've been here for more than a decade, dreaming of owning my own place. After getting married, the desire only grew stronger, so my husband and I started house hunting this year. We didn't want to over-leverage, so we set our budget at 5 to 6 million yuan, hoping to use provident funds to cover the monthly repayments. But no matter where we looked, new or pre-owned, we couldn't find anything satisfying. Recently, an agent called about a new development in Bao'an with an opening price just within our budget. So on our day off, Gang and I went to see it. The complex is just 200 meters from Lindsay Metro Station, with only 2 buildings. One is talent housing, with units sized 89 and 115 square meters. At first, the blogger thought buying a pre-owned home would be simpler, but later realized the traps and headaches involved. So she and her husband decided to go for a new home, even if it meant a heavier down payment, just to keep the monthly loan pressure lower. But the thought of being tied down to a mortgage for the next 30 years still crushed them like a weight they couldn't escape. I bought a home in Shenzhen for 5 million yuan, and now look at it. Yesterday, my husband came home and told me our neighbors sold their place for just 4.5 million. I was devastated. Our community is brand new. Units were only handed over at the end of last year. That house hasn't even been renovated, and it's already lost 500,000 yuan in value. We bought ours back in 2014 for 5 million yuan. The down payment plus taxes came to 1.55 million yuan, averaging just over 50,000 yuan per square meter. Our mortgage runs 30 years, and every month we pay nearly 20,000 yuan. And now, in less than a year, the value has already crumbled. The blogger shared how she and her husband scraped and saved after grinding in Shenzhen for over a decade. To pay off their mortgage faster, they cut every unnecessary expense. Yet after 2 years of repayment, it feels like most of the money has gone straight into interest, with almost nothing reducing the principal. Before owning a house, she envied homeowners. But after buying her own, she realized the cruel truth. Homeowners are the biggest losers. They don't dare quit their jobs. They don't dare spend. They don't dare rest. They live like prisoners of their mortgage, counting every yuan day by day. Her apartment wasn't even fully renovated when housing prices suddenly crashed, slashing its value by 500,000 yuan overnight. Still, she tried to comfort herself. Since I'll live here, I won't lose unless I sell. But the reality of working life broke her down. I'm going to run away, she confessed. After just 2 weeks in a new company, she quit. The thought hit her on her second day. The pressure was unbearable. KPIs, overtime until sunrise, endless reports. She dragged herself home at 9:30 a.m., only to wake up at 7:30 a.m. again for work. The brutal pace destroyed her sleep and wrecked her skin. Finally, she gave up, torn by guilt but suffocated by stress. Netizens poured in their thoughts. Young people today just want to escape when facing pressure. Everyone wants a stress-free job, but where do those jobs exist? Another added, once you have a family and kids, you'll realize the little struggles of youth were nothing. Her reality? A 6,000 yuan salary, 2 hours of commuting every day, and a life that feels like it's already spent on the subway. Up at 7:30, rushing through makeup, crammed into line 5 like cargo, shoved around by strangers until she finally stumbles into the office exhausted before the day has even begun. Rent closer to work? Impossible. She hasn't even passed probation. She has to endure. Jobs are scarce, quitting is risky. Ran, another blogger, wasn't so lucky. She bought a 2 million yuan apartment, only to be laid off weeks later. During the team meeting, I got a message to report to conference room 906. I knew immediately it was another layoff. The manager told her he wished he could keep her, but there was only one spot left, and it went to someone else. Ran walked back to her desk, numb, pretending to work until noon, when she finally collapsed into tears. It wasn't just the layoff, it was the endless setbacks, the feeling that life in Shenzhen only gets rougher, with no sign of a turnaround. And what about salaries? A fresh graduate majoring in international economics and trade, working in cross-border e-commerce, earns just 5,000 yuan during probation and 6,000 after. She once believed salaries in big cities were sky high. Now she knows the truth. The average pay is just 6,000 or 7,000 yuan, while the 10,000 yuan salary belongs only to a lucky few. In a city full of layoffs, she considers herself fortunate just to have a job. But not everyone is so fortunate. Blogger Nini, 41, has been unemployed for 5 months, sending out resumes daily with no luck. Even the simplest jobs reject me. It feels like once you're over 35, you're unemployable. Maybe I should just lie low, eat, sleep, and wait for retirement. Or pick up a cleaning job at best. Yao has spent 4 years in Shenzhen, and now she's leaving. No career, no love, only loneliness. Eating alone, watching movies alone, living alone. She's come to see that what people truly need isn't money or ambition, but companionship. Here, so many live alone, and isolation easily breeds depression. Too much of it can even make you sick. This year, my urge to leave has only grown stronger. Yes, I'm leaving. Some don't want me to go, But after much thought, I know, aside from the good weather, there's nothing in Shenzhen worth staying for. Shenzhen has long been a dream destination for migrant workers, a city they yearn to be in. However, more and more people are now choosing to leave. There are several reasons for this. First, Shenzhen's stubbornly high housing prices have put home ownership out of reach for most ordinary workers. Many once dreamed of owning a place in this bustling city, but as prices kept rising, that dream has become increasingly unattainable. Even if some manage to scrape together a down payment and mortgage, the crushing financial burden takes a serious toll on their quality of life, making it hard to truly settle down and focus on work. Faced with this reality, many have no choice but to leave Shenzhen and return home. Second, the cost of living in Shenzhen is nothing to scoff at. Even a simple bowl of noodles can cost 10 or 20 yuan. Frustratingly, wages haven't kept pace with rising expenses. Shenzhen is often described as a city of opportunity, drawing in countless talented individuals. But this also creates cutthroat competition. Whether you're at a startup or a big company, the talent pool is saturated. To stand out, you must constantly excel, work long hours, and keep upgrading your skills, or risk being pushed out.